Hey guys, so today on D3Live we're going to be talking about some of the frequently asked questions as far as jailbreaking is concerned. So of course I did do a video about 6 or so months ago talking about some of the, the frequently asked questions, but what I decided to do today is revamp the video, talk about some new things, some of the things that have changed, all that kind of good stuff. So the first thing, and of course do keep in mind that this is mostly targeted at the jailbreak newbie, someone who's never done it before, just kind of a little curious about what it's all about or whatever. If you've ever jailbroken before, this is probably not going to be particularly useful for you, but of course feel free to stick around anyway. So the first question is, what is a tethered compared to an untethered jailbreak? Now I get this one a lot. There are a lot of different types of jailbreaks, and again, it kind of gets people confused. But basically, an untethered jailbreak is what you want. That's the best type of jailbreak. What it means is once you've jailbroken, you're free to turn your device on and off, do whatever you want as many times as you want. It's not really going to affect anything. And what a tethered jailbreak is what that means is when you go to shut your iPod, iPhone, iPad, when you go to shut it totally off, not just lock the screen, but when you shut it totally off and then you need to reboot it. So for example, if you're getting on an airplane, you need to shut your phone off when you're in flight or whatever like that. You need to shut it totally off. Well, when you go to turn it back on, it will not properly boot until you plug it into your computer and rerun the jailbreak program. It's certainly an annoyance, and it's a fairly big one at that. Which is why typically I prefer to always use untethered jailbreaks unless there's some major problem or whatever. So that basically the difference is, the jailbreak will be about the same. There won't be any major issues, but if you need to restart your phone or anything like that, you will need to plug it into your computer and reset it, rerun the jailbreak just so that the phone will boot. So just kind of try to clear that up for you. Another thing is, what are some of the cons of jailbreaking? This is again a very, very common question, because obviously you are hacking your phone or your iPod or your iPad or whatever it is, but you are hacking it, and there are some downsides involved. So the first of which, and definitely the biggest, is as far as updating goes. So of course, typically if you're not jailbroken, there's a new iOS firmware come out, you plug your iPod or iPhone or whatever into your computer, update, no big deal. However, when you do this with jailbreaking, it is definitely not encouraged whatsoever, as let's say I'm on 4.2.1 right now, and 4.3 comes out tomorrow or whatever, and so it's like, okay, well, I want to go update. Well, if I plug my device into my computer, update the firmware, then I will basically lose my jailbreak, and which is definitely not something you want to do. So what I always recommend is don't update your iPods or iPhones or anything. Don't update unless you know that there is a jailbreak on the firmware that you're about to update to. This is very simple. Usually it only takes a couple of days. Sometimes it can take weeks or months, but typically, within a few days, it'll be all set. So what you do is just wait, hold up, don't update, and then, when, let's say, the new Red Snow or whatever the jailbreak comes out that will work, preferably untethered, of course, then you'll be able to update and then re-jailbreak after that. Now, as far as when you re-jailbreak, you will lose all of your Cydia apps. That's pretty much just the way it works. But there are several things in Cydia that will allow you to back them up, such as APT backup, which I definitely recommend you guys take a look at. Now, as far as some of the pros of jailbreaking go, this is my favorite part because there are quite a few. So the number one thing is full freedom over your device. Now, this is something I've been talking about for years. I really think, even though Apple is slowly getting a little bit better, if you take a look at the App Store, there are a lot of apps that are not included or not allowed. So you look at like customization, tweaks, mods, themes, none of that stuff is going to be allowed. And while sure the App Store is great, and you do of course have full access to the App Store, which is a kind of an odd thing. When you jailbreak, it's not like you can no longer buy any apps or go on the App Store. It's not true at all. All it does is add Cydia. But the App Store is just not going to be equipped to allow you to give you a new overall look to your device or whatever you want to do. So that's where Cydia comes in, which is basically the jailbreaking App Store. Now with Cydia, you can download kinds of tweaks, themes, mods. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do and really customize your device to suit your particular needs. Okay, so for the second segment of D3Live, I will be taking live questions from everyone in the chat. As always, every episode of D3Live is filmed in front of a live audience on Blog TV. We have quite a few people in the room right now, so let's take some of their questions and answer some more frequently asked questions about jailbreaking. So, is jailbreaking illegal? That's a fantastic question. Now, previously, a couple years back, it was in a kind of a gray area. It was not explicitly legal, but it was not explicitly illegal in the United States. Now, do keep in mind that this is all about the United States. Laws, of course, vary all around the world. But recently there was a new restriction, or rather an implementation, whatever you want to call it, but there was a new law added that basically made jailbreaking a phone, or like an Android phone or whatever, but specifically, of course, an iPhone, made it 100% legal. Now this is great. Obviously, it was never, like I said, it was never really illegal. Apple never tried to sue anyone or anything like that. But in the United States, it is 100% legal to jailbreak your phone, so that's definitely good news. Does jailbreaking cause any health risks? No, it doesn't, of course. As far as your device goes, which I'm assuming that's what you meant, there's always a chance, and I do want to try to say this, even though if it's a 1 in 3 million chance, there's always a chance that it could harm your device. However, there are a lot of different things, no matter, if you, in the middle of jailbreaking, you unplug the cable and, toss your phone against the room, or whatever. I mean, as long as you follow the tutorials that I put, as well as quite a few other people around the internet put out, you should really never have any issues. And if you do have issues, there are quite a few different things you can do to save your phone or whatever. So, I've been jailbreaking. I've jailbroken dozens and dozens of times over the years, and I've never had a device break. And I've used some pretty, crazy stuff, and, done some stuff that you really never should do. So really, I would not worry about breaking your device. Should you be concerned about phone hijacking or other unwanted things on your jailbroken device? That's actually another great question. Something that a lot of people have talked about is the security aspect. When you break down the wall and allow all kinds of different things to run on your phone, what that can do, of course, is allow viruses or malicious things that can steal your data or whatever. The possibility is there, and I will say that yes, the possibility is there. When you jailbreak your device, it's not like you go from being mostly secure to slightly less secure. However, on the other hand, generally the jailbreak community is pretty tight knit. I mean, it's not like we're filled with spammers and people who are out to steal your data. Typically, everything is people keep a pretty good eye on it, and we've never really had any major issues with people stealing your information or whatever. Typically, that actually happens when you're not even jailbroken in the beginning. Actually, that's kind of comes around to a pretty good point. For example, the latest 4.3.3 release that just came out was basically about fixing the size of the location. So, of course, Apple was tracking your location and all that kind of stuff and was saving it. Well, within a couple of hours, there's already a Cydia tweak that basically eliminated that, which is great. So, well, yes, there is a possibility. Typically, jailbreaking actually does more to increase your security than decrease it. What does breaking your iDevice mean? What that bricking, of course, it's kind of a bad term, but bricking your device means that it's dead. If you, for whatever reason, your iPod, your iPhone, your iPad, it's dead. There's nothing you can do. There's no tricks. I mean, that's at the point where it's totally dead. Now, people kind of overuse the term breaking. If something goes wrong in the middle of it and it's not doing anything, they call it bricked, which is not the case. In my opinion, a bricked device just means, go throw it away. It's totally useless. Whereas, there can be problems where, the screen might stop working or whatever like that, but you can reset it. You can do different things to get it to work. So yeah, typically what breaking means is it's totally busted, but I would say the vast majority of people who think they have a bricked device do not. There's a way to fix it. What's the worst thing that can happen when jailbreaking? Well, coming back to that is being bricked. If you, there are a lot of different things, but basically, like, if you unplugged it while you were jailbreaking, or your computer crashed, or something like that happened, your device can technically be destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but bricked. But again, very, very, very minute chance of that, and I would say that there's almost the same amount of chance of I would say there's a much, much larger chance of you dropping your phone or anything like that than having any harm happen to it via jailbreaking. What's the difference between an unlock and a jailbreak? Now, I'm not going to get too far into unlocking. That is a totally separate thing. But a jailbreak is basically allowing you to install Cydia, which allows you, of course, in turn to install all kinds of tweaks, mods, themes, all that kind of stuff. As soon as you have Cydia on your device and it's running, that is technically a jailbroken device. Well, not technically, but 99% of the time, when you have Cydia on your device, it's considered jailbreaking. Now, as far as an unlock goes, an unlock takes it one step further. So if you have an iPhone, and let's say you're in the US, and you're on AT&T, and for some reason you decide you want to switch over to T-Mobile, well, of course, you can't do that normally, but if you have the proper baseband and all that kind of stuff, and again, I don't want to really get into too specific into unlocking all that kind of stuff, but if you wanted to change it over to T-Mobile or something, you absolutely could do that via unlocking. So anyway, guys, that's about it for my jailbreaking frequently asked questions. Hopefully this answered some of your questions about jailbreaking, some of it kind of cleared up some of the confusion and whatnot. But of course, if you do have any additional comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below.